So we're going to get things started here. If you weren't here yesterday, my name is Ben Perrin, host of the BTC Sessions. I'm going to be your MC for the day, and we're going to get started on our presentations right away. So this first presenter of the day is a kindred spirit of mine because he comes from the same realm. He is a crypto educator and he runs a YouTube channel. So I'm going to let him come out and give a little intro about what he's doing, what he wants to talk about. His name is Jacob Hughes, and I will invite him. Let's give him a round of applause. Cool.
Thank you guys all for showing up here today. This is going to be awesome. I'm going to literally shake down the facts on masternodes today. So this is going to be pretty exciting. But before we get to that, I do want to talk a little bit about me. So I started taking apart computers when I was 6 years old. And you can see the image on the top right there. That's pretty much what my room looked like all the time.
That's awesome!
Yeah, no, it was a blast. My mom would come into the room and she'd be like, "Oh my God, took apart my computer again. It's such a mess." Yeah, and so I loved it. I had this massive curiosity, and I could never satiate it. I always wanted to know more, and I could never know enough. So I went on ahead into school and I took every computer course that they had. And I was just pumped for it, and I just demolished all the tests, right? And through that, I got my certificates of merit, and I actually went on to a competition for cybersecurity. So I competed in the 2012 Cyber Patriot 4 competition, where more than 1,000 teams entered into the competition, and only 26 teams made it to the finals in Washington, D.C. And basically, throughout this competition, we had to secure operating systems from live hackers, professional hackers. And our team placed second internationally. So, yeah, so...
Skills!
I was then hired as an information security analyst at the age of 17, and I've been working in the IT industry ever since. I started investing, innovating, and developing in the cryptocurrency space at the age of 21, and I'm 24 currently, and I now offer consultation and technical assistance with blockchain-related technology in association with Jan and the team at BitcoinInvestments.ca. So I've helped many people set up masternodes, and I currently I'm beyond 600 in the count today.
Bam!
Awesome.
Yeah. To spread the word about cryptocurrency, I started content creation on YouTube. I'm the first listing on YouTube when searching That Regular Guy. And the reason why I named my channel That Regular Guy is just to show that you can do anything, and you don't have to come from this background of wealth. You don't have to come from this lineage of this masters and all of this. You don't need it, right? I mean, it certainly helps, don't get me wrong, because I came from the ground up, and I busted my chops and I worked hard. So now I'm known to be a professionally adept educator among my peers and clients. So if you require additional assistance in understanding a concept, my channel and I are excellent resources. So now, are you guys ready to follow me down this rabbit hole? It's gonna get interesting, and hopefully I blow up your minds, but I guess we'll see. And at this point, now you guys just gotta decide if you're gonna take the red pill or the blue pill.
Both!
Alright, so now what is a masternode? Now, a masternode is a transaction validator that supports the network by hosting an entire copy of the coin's blockchain. Now, in return, the masternode owner receives an incentive in the form of the blockchain's native currency. Now, as you can see here, I got this little flow chart to explain that. So this will be your masternode, right? And he is verifying the ledger. And in return, he receives an incentive, and it gets sent to your wallet. It's pretty simple. It's not too complex yet, but we're going to get there. All right, now what is required? Well, you need the coin collateral, right? In order to create a masternode and start receiving an incentive, a collateral of coins must be offered. You will always have control over these. At no point in time are they completely locked in and you can't remove them. right? You'll also need a computer to host your coins. This is called a controller wallet. You will control your coins here, your transactions, your balances, all of that from your own computer. The last thing that you'll need is a virtual private server. This is also referred to as a VPS. This is where the functional portion of the ledger verification process occurs. Now, there are some important things to note. The cash value of the collateral changes based on the coin's value. For instance, if you purchased 1,000 Dash at $1 in 2014, you would generate Dash on a continual basis up until now, and the Masternode would be worth $228,000, right? That doesn't include the Dash that would have been generated as an incentive. So it's even beyond that, right? Now, how do they benefit the blockchain? What is so important about masternodes? What do they do? Why, like, other than the incentive, what do they offer? There has to be some major benefits here that we're going to offer if it's going to stick around, right? If this technological advancement is going to be here, right? Now, depending on the specific project you decide to invest in, the benefits will differ. The most common benefits include instant transactions. Now, that's a big deal when it comes to blockchain technology, right? Because usually you have to wait for confirmations on transactions or anything like that to even move your coins on any exchange. So, the next thing is governance and decentralized voting. Anonymization and increased privacy of transactions and private blockchain messaging. Now let's break down each of these concepts. Traditional transactions. Bitcoin uses proof of work. Bitcoin transaction confirmations can take 10 to 20 minutes each. And some exchanges require 4 to 6 Bitcoin confirmations before you can even move them. So now this really explains that concept. For each confirmation, it takes about 10 minutes. And by the time you get to the end, you spent 40 minutes waiting, right, to even do anything with your coins, right? Now I get it, security is obviously very important. I'm in the field, I've been in it for a while. And it's a big deal. Security always comes first, right? But what if there was a way to make this instantaneous and still have that security, right? Masternodes offer that functionality. It's in place, it works, it's functional. So let's explore that. Instant transactions. The first element of the instant send feature is transaction locking. This mechanism is designed to prevent double spending, just like Bitcoin confirmations for transactions. Now, with transaction locking, a client announces the intention to lock funds from a specific input to a specific output to the entire network. Now, once consensus is successfully achieved, another message will be propagated across the network, and at this point, all clients will respect the lock on the funds. So if you have a masternode network, right, of say 800 nodes, 800 masternodes that all have a copy of the ledger, right, basically all of them have agreed that there is a lock on the funds even prior to sending the funds. And once that consensus is achieved, you are therefore allowed to move those funds any which way you prefer, as if they were already sent to the destination. Pretty amazing. Now, these transactions are quicker than searching for the right amount of change in your wallet, even if your wallet looks like that, which most people that's a little too much for me. Now, this basically explains this concept in a more visual manner. I am a crypto educator, and I do understand that some people learn more visually, some people learn more physically, right? So I do offer these images that kind of explain this technology and how exactly it functions. So now, if I were to send a transaction to, say, George, on the other end of the spectrum there, when I am ready to instantly send Dash, in this instance, consensus would be achieved between these 4 masternodes on the network, which are selected based on an algorithm that involves distance, frequency, and all of these things. Now, once they have understood that there is a transaction lock on the funds that I want to send, and they've achieved consensus, they broadcast that message to every single masternode within the network, right? So everybody knows what's going on. They've updated their blockchain. Their confirmations haven't even started. The funds haven't even been sent yet, right? And once that occurs, and once the funds are sent, that's it. The lock is done, right? Nobody can use that's the first person that initiated the sending of the funds can no longer use them. but the destination can already use them because it's been confirmed and everybody has agreed to that consensus. So Masternode governance. Masternode governance is everything that the 2016 United States election wasn't. The cyber attacks that occurred there, I'm pretty confident that that was legitimate. They definitely compromised a few things there, and Russia was definitely involved. But you know, each masternode of the network is allowed to vote once. Now, this results in a global decentralized vote. Each vote may determine the following: core developers hired, additional technologies to develop, changes to masternode, and staking incentives. The beauty of this is that you have a voice, right? And as Samuel L. Jackson said, if you have an opportunity to use your voice, you should use it. This is what it's all about. This is decentralization. And of course, no voting discrepancies. We can expand on that afterwards as well, as I'm sure you guys are curious. Now, anonymization and increased privacy. When masternode incentives are sent, a transaction is generated. It's pretty self-explanatory, but the zero-coin privacy protocol allows masternode owners to be incentivized in a private fashion. So when you set up your masternode and you are receiving that incentive, the transaction is actually mixed in with other transactions in a per-block basis, and therefore you receive those incentives in a privatized fashion. Now, this in essence means that the transactions cannot be traced back to your wallet address and viewed on a public blockchain explorer. There is also the private send function, which allows users to anonymize their transactions at will in case it's not sent via an incentive from a masternode reward. So private messaging. Why use private messaging on the blockchain versus any other private messaging application? I mean, we have Telegram and a few other things out there which work great. I mean, we can even go back to IRC, host our own servers, right? Well, the main benefits are reliability, redundancy, and security. If any privatized application were to go offline or discontinue their services, your information is lost. If we look at hotmail.com, shaw.ca emails that are in relation to your service provider, right? When you switch service providers, all your emails or your information is gone. Like, they don't hold on to it for a specific set of, they hold on to it, I think, for like 30 to 60 days, depending on your ISP. But after that, that info, it's out. Now, sending privatized information on the blockchain, such as a receipt indicator for a purchase you made, will allow you to track that purchase forever, and in a private fashion. So other people don't know what you bought, but you know what you purchased, and it's held on the blockchain at all times. So that's a pretty fantastic thing. Now, the fun fact about that is it'll allow you to identify how much crypto you spent on purchasing that pizza back in 2014. 30,000 Bitcoin for a box of pizza. So now that we understand masternodes, right, how do we identify scams? Right? This is imperative information here, and I believe that everybody has to know how to do this, right? Because so many people are out there and they talk about, oh, you know what, I lost money when I got into crypto, and someone just ran off with all of my coin or whichever, right? Well, how do we identify those things, right? Well, first let's understand why scams are created and how individuals fall for them. Now, scams are created in order for individuals to make profit quickly and generally anonymously. Now, keep note of anonymously, because there are so many projects out there where they don't show their faces, right? The team members don't show their faces. You just know that somewhere, someone is running this project, right? And it's hard to put faith in things that are unknown like that, especially in crypto and where things are decentralized, right? It can be tough. Now, the two main reasons why individuals fall for scams are greed and ignorance, right? Greed, you're being promised this amount of return, and you're pulling back all of these funds, like 1,600% gains in 2 weeks, you know? Things like that. It's just, it's tough. But the ignorance is also a factor, because if you're not aware of what to look for, you will be scammed, right? It'll happen, right? A lot of people will tell you that in this space. Now, new technologies are not understood by most people, enabling scammers to twist the facts just enough to include some truth mixed in with deception. And that's where they get you. Now, there is no solution for greed except for self-control, but ignorance can be solved in short order. Knowledge is power. Now, here are the 4 things that I like to preach a little bit is research, intake, learn, and retain. With research, we can identify if a project is legitimate by answering a few questions. Is the white paper valid and really in-depth? Are there a lot of generic and plain concepts? Is the project team experienced with blockchain technology and are they punctual with their project roadmap? Is the project's website well developed, up to date, and accurate? Does the project have real-world marketplace and business use? Is their GitHub repository active with well-written and functional source code? All right? Is there an ongoing marketing strategy? Is there an active community? Has the project been successful? All of these things, you know? And these are just 10 right off the bat. I could definitely ask more, but this slide would just not hold it. It's just too much information to contain. So now once these questions are answered, we can intake that information and learn from it. If we retain that information, we are much less likely to be scammed. Now, these are some white paper examples. We have Dash, which is an awesome example for this because they've been around from the get-go, right? And their white paper is fantastic. Right off the bat, they're describing deterministic ordering, trustless quorums, right? Exactly how things function down to the very last inner detail, right? And then you'll see other coins, and this one, for example, is Eris coin. If you're invested in it, I apologize, but this is a terrible example of a white paper. It basically describes blockchain technology and how blockchain technology works in a few very short paragraphs. And then they describe what privacy is, but I think we all know what that is. You know? So it's just a bad example. Generalized concepts we want to avoid. We want in-depth, specific examples. Now, blockchain team. When you click the Our Team button, you expect to see the team, right? If not there, at least on the home page of the project. We want this, we need this, right? Oh, geez, it looks like nobody's working on the project. Well, this is how you identify a stale project or a scam. This is the first step. I literally went through one of the first points on the previous slide, and it checked out. It just, oh, geez. Now, website examples. Now, PivX is an awesome example. Awesome doesn't have an E, but that's okay. Now, on PivX, you can see, or you might not be able to see, but you can navigate to the website afterwards. It has everything right on the home page. All of their social media. Anywhere that you want to ask a question, they have a massive community that you can outreach to, and they will help you. Anything that is basically covered in the white paper is covered right there on the home page, right? Or links to that information, it is all there. Now, if we look at this other project, I think it's called Monster Bitcoin, they have 3 links. Download the wallet. And I can't really see it myself, actually. But, yeah, download the wallet, and here's the white paper is pretty much what it comes down to, right? And when you dive into the white paper, you see more of those generalized concepts. So just 2 points that just don't check out, don't put your money in it. You know, everybody works hard for it here. So why do you just want to throw it away? If you're going to give it away, at least give it a purpose and donate to charity, right? Now, GitHub examples. Great. More spoilers. So anyways, Dash has a fantastic GitHub. Right now, they do, like their last commit was 24 days ago, and they have 384 code contributors, right? So there are a lot of people working on this project. And this is just probably one of the best examples out there. But there are several other examples in other communities with masternodes that have these code contributors and active commits, right? So we love to see this. This means that people are working on it and things are progressing. Now, if we look at Monster Bitcoin, the last commit was 7 months ago, and there are only 2 people working on this project. We need more. We need more. So now, if we look at Dash, again, massive community, it's been around for a while, right? And we have a lot of active members. There's like over 30,000 people that are involved in the community at any given time, which is awesome. And we have 1,000 people that are online and active, which is great. Now we have resources where we can pull information from, right? Now, if we look at this BPG project, they have 77 people online, and they've had their community going and their project going for, I think it was 4 to 6 months, right? So usually after the start of a Masternode project, between the first and 3 month mark, that's when you determine if the project is going to live or if it's going to die, right? So if you're going to get into a project that has awesome ideals, make sure that those few things like check out initially, right? Or that you can verify them after that 3 month mark, because then you have a little more hope. Right? So now the other thing is take your time. These are all things that I look for when validating a project. They're general indicators that help invite or deter investors. It's all about asking the right questions. Don't be in a major rush to invest without the facts, right? When rushing with little consideration, errors are more likely to be made. Now, as Warren Buffett said, successful investing takes time, discipline, and patience. No matter how great the talent or effort, some things just take time. Right? And you can't produce a baby in 1 month by getting 9 women pregnant. Those are just the facts.
That's awesome.
Now, lessons learned. Research adequately, okay? Don't invest in more than you can afford to do without. And I believe, actually, Ben went through that in one of his BTC Sessions video, which is awesome. Now, don't be hesitant to take some profits from your investments. If you lock them in and you hold them and you're not pulling anything back, you may find that that might be a mistake. If something seems fishy, it probably is, right? You can trust your gut feeling at times. It has helped me at the blackjack table. Build relationships and don't be hesitant to ask questions, right? At the end of the day, you want to pull as much information as possible because that is what's going to determine your growth, your knowledge, and your success in this field, right? You need information. This is where it's at. Get it while you can and when you can, right? Now, seek voice communication for smaller projects you invest in. So you want to develop a relationship with the project leader, the CEO, people that are in there developing the project as well, because they are holding your funds essentially if you're investing, and they're determining that success, right? The potential for growth in your investment. So this is huge. You definitely want to seek voice communication, because some people, they'll put a picture up. They can pull it from Google, right? Put it on their project page. But if you don't know them, whether you invest for profit or for the benefit of the technological advancement, monitor your investments actively. A lot of people just like to put money in and they say, okay, now it's going to make me money, right? It doesn't really work like that. You definitely have to monitor these things and see how they're going, and again, pull information, right? Now, try not to get sucked into leverage trading. If you do it for charity. Right? I actually made a few videos where I was leverage trading on BitMEX, and the rewards that I got, we sent them to the survivors in Guatemala for the volcano disaster. Now, my experiences, this is a fun one. This is fun for me. I gotta talk a little bit about what I've done out there. Now, my best investment yield was 78,000. And that was through Ripple, wouldn't you believe it, right? I started investing in Ripple right at the get-go, and it was cheap. It was like 26 cents before the January and December pump, right? And I bought it at 26 cents, and then I sold at $4. That was an amazing gain, but again, you have to know when to cash out. You can't say, okay, well, it's going to hit $6. Don't do it. Take some gains. Now this one is funny. How a 4-liter jug of milk cost me $7,000. Now a lot of people can say that, right? Like, I mean, that's a kind of intense story, but it did. I was sitting down, and it's funny, I was actually live streaming some of my trading with Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin. And so I had, I believe, 9 units of Bitcoin Cash, and I was trading them for about $600 a unit. And my mom asked me, she said, can you go out and get some milk for dinner? And I was like, okay, well, Safeway's only 3 minutes away. I can do this. It's not a problem, right? I'll let the live stream go. I'll come back and we'll be ready to rock. You know, it's not going to be a big deal. I went, I got milk. I monitored my phone while I was at the checkout, and then the price of Bitcoin Cash just went to like $1,500. And I had 9 Bitcoin Cash, and I was day trading. I was live trading it, right? And I came back, and then I saw the pump, and then I saw the drop. Right? So when I came back, Bitcoin Cash was, again, $650, $700. You know, I missed that one. And I said, Mom. You know, just brutal. But crypto has paid for my trips to Las Vegas, Ireland, and South Korea. I actually just came back from South Korea about 3 or 4 weeks ago, where I went to the Ethereum Classic Summit, which was a blast. The people that you would meet at these conventions are amazing, and I mean, Ken can tell you all about it. He went to 34 this month alone. So, yeah, but all in all, I've invested in great projects, terrible projects, right? Participated in groundbreaking innovation, taught newcomers, wrote scripts, and you know, process automation. Like I've done it all. There's this massive amount of experience here, and I really want to pitch it to everybody so they know what to look for and what to learn, right? Because some of this information, it can be filler, but a lot of it will take you to the next level, absolutely. And there's nothing else that I'd like to do more than this. I refuse to work until my bones can't tolerate it. You know, we're here to live, right? And if we can have decentralized currency that we can use worldwide, why not? This is where it's at. This is what we need. You know, crypto is the game, and I am willing to play. This is my niche. I don't want to stop doing it. I love it. It's a blast, and I'm glad that I've had a community that loves the information that we're putting out there. You know. So closing notes, we're all out here making waves, changing the world every day in a small, decentralized way. We are shaping history with every single person we teach about blockchain technology. It is because of you guys that we are here and able to spread the message and continue teaching what we love. You know? Thank you all for taking part in this event, absorbing knowledge, and supporting this effort. Now, I just want to close with the fact that I have some shirts here, and that I'm going to hand out here, the TRG shirts, right? And for each question asked, I'm going to hand out a shirt. But please realize there is a limited quantity of these shirts. I think I have 5 to 7 kicking around right now. Yeah. So we'll start up shortly, and how do you want to...
Do you have Big Daddy size?
I got them right here,
I'm
yeah.
going to ask a question. No, I'm just kidding.
Check. Okay, I've got audio. Perfect. These ones?
Yep, those are the guys.
Awesome. Okay.
I don't know if we... Yeah, okay, all right. So I will start over here. I saw your hand first. Yeah.
So are you limited to using the Linux virtual machines for your server base, or can you put it into cloud containers now?
That's an awesome question. I love that. Ben will hand you out a shirt there. He's got medium and large selection. Now that is an awesome question. I love that. And the reality is, I guess it depends on the project, but the majority of them, you can set them up in any given environment you would like. It just depends on, I guess, how reliable you want it to be, right? Because I've set up masternodes from Windows machines to other Windows machines, right? When I started setting up masternodes, I actually had 2 Dell PCs at home. And you don't need a lot of processing power, right? you know, like you could use laptops if you wanted to, but they're going to shut off often. So that's the thing. But I had 2 Dell PCs, and they both had Windows 7 on them. And I had a Masternode wallet running on each one. So you can do it that way, you can set it up that way, and it works. But again, when Windows updates kicks in, it kind of sucks. So that's why people like to use Linux, because you can use scripts, you can automate things, you can set up all of that functionality and even the verification that the processes are running by doing something like, say, a cron job, or even writing a script to verify that those processes are up and running. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, good question. Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah. I will, yeah.
What would you recommend for masternodes would be like your top favorite?
Ooh, that's a good question. But see, I need to open up with the fact that I don't want to provide any financial advice. You know, I gotta protect myself here.
I'm buying right now.
Yeah, woo!
But for Masternode projects, I'm a fan personally of a coin called Infinex. Infinex is an awesome project, and they actually have a functional proof of concept for decentralized exchange, which is in use. And based on the transactions that occur on that decentralized exchange, Masternode holders actually receive a portion of that transaction fee on the exchange. So that is providing you that incentive, you know, for having that Masternode on top of the regular Masternode incentives. So it's like, you know, taking your pie and eating your cake, whichever.
And having the cherry on top.
The cherry on top, 12 of them on that. Go here.
So after 600 Masternode setups, how are you seeing things evolve in the space? Like, are they changing? Are they staying the same? Are they chasing transaction speeds? Like, what do you see coming in the near future with that?
That's a wicked question too. So there has been so many technological advancements with masternodes, and I've loved it. Like seeing how things develop and everybody that is interested and developing in the space. Now I've seen many developments and many platforms that are actually migrating from proof of work to proof of stake because of the benefits that it offers, but also the masternode technology involved. Right? A lot of people are adopting some of the generalized concepts that Dash had developed, and they're creating a bunch of these coins with that same functionality. But the fact is that they don't have a purpose, a major purpose, right? And then there's other coins out there that do have a purpose, and they've been doing a fantastic job. So I guess to answer your question, I see masternodes definitely developing in regards to security and offering those instantaneous transactions. I mean, everybody's looking forward to atomic swaps with Bitcoin, right? Everybody's been waiting for them, but Dash has had instant send functionality for how long? Right? And on top of that, platforms that offer smart contracts, they can actually do atomic swaps between those respective platforms. And I made a YouTube video on that and that functionality as well. That's up there. So
very cool.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, we'll go here.
Yeah, I don't quite understand it, but could you explain the difference between, say, the masternodes that Bitcoin has, which I think there's no incentive other than being a Bitcoin masternode holder, and Bitcoin is decentralized, and the other projects, the more stakeholders, the more centralized the project. So how do the projects avoid centralization? Because, you know, it's obvious that it will move towards centralization. So I just don't have clarity on that.
Okay. All right. So this, I love that question too. That's great. So if you own a node for Bitcoin, you don't receive an incentive, right? Basically, it offers you a little additional security because you're hosting your node there and you're not utilizing someone else's node where they're holding the ledger of, 200 and whichever gigs is the blockchain. So basically, you get a little more secure. you're using your own node for the verification purposes and not somebody else's of the transactions. Now, there was two parts to that question. The next one is, what about centralization with masternodes? If someone were to buy a lot of masternodes, is that...
Well, yeah, the question is more like, well, Bitcoin, from what you're saying, doesn't have any incentive, so people just get the masternodes because they want, and they're anonymous, right? So, I think. So with the other proof of stake projects, there are lots of them out there. What I heard is many of them are very centralized just because of the way they start off, the way things are distributed. I don't know if it's true or not, but I'm saying, well, if it is, then how is that being taken care of, or is it, you know?
Yes. And so basically for a Masternode project, I mean, when they start out, it's usually the project holders or developers that host the masternodes, right? And if it's from a pre-mine basis, the general consensus on this is that pre-mine is not used to set up masternodes on the network, and that can be verified based on geolocation and IP addresses, right? So when you host your masternode, you have your global IP address, right? And it indicates where you are in the world and where that is being distributed from, right? So when you're doing that verification process, if you see on the map, and they have these geolocation maps, so you can see where all the masternodes are being held. If you see the majority of them are, you know, in this one little pocket in Russia, and there's 400 nodes set up there, and there's only 600 nodes on the network, don't invest. Don't do it, right? But generally, for a lot of solid masternode projects, you will see that these nodes are distributed all across the world. And you'll have like 10 masternodes set up in Estonia, and then you have 5 or 6 set up in Canada, and then you have 20 set up in the States, and then the list goes on and on and on, right? And that is the beauty of masternodes and decentralization, is that they can literally be worldwide, and everybody is hosting in different spaces on the earth.
I have a question without a shift. My size does not fit your shirt, but a business question.
Okay.
A business question. So if 200 gig plus, you said that is a ledger.
Oh, it's huge.
It's a cost lots of money. So the question comes back to the business following the first question. If you have so many nodes out there, why, from business perspective, I don't use these nodes? Why do I still have to pay you and make all the complication of maintaining and paying the cloud-based or whatever technique you will use? Because this is a massive node. This is not a simple node. So what's the business driver for people to do it?
What is the business drive of using a masternode or masternode technology?
No, create your own node. To create your own node.
Oh, to create your own node. Okay, so so basically the reason why you would create your own node is not only for the incentive that you would receive, right? But also the value that it offers to the network, because it actually strengthens your investment by owning a masternode on the network, because you're increasing privacy, you're increasing that decentralization, right? By having your own skin in the game, right? But also benefiting the network as a whole.
But I have the coins in my wallet, so why do I care?
Okay,
like,
so
I'm not here. Not everybody is like to help, okay? Like, just give me the business reason, okay?
the business reason is basically it'll increase your return in the blockchain currency by, instead of holding them, by setting up masternodes and offering them up as a collateral, you receive a larger incentive than just staking them.
Okay.
Yeah. So that would be the reason there. I'll fire away here, yeah.
What are your thoughts on the tokenization of masternodes? Things like Swarm.fund has recently tokenized the Dash masternode. So you, me, and everybody in this room could contribute to have one masternode. What's the future of that pitter-patter, bickering, arguing, voting look like? And then I wanted to see what your thoughts were in breaking out my vote as a masternode.
Interesting. There's two questions there that, yeah, I don't think I've ever been asked. So that's...
Talk on stage. I got this hours with you, man.
Oh, it's all good. Yeah, no, I love it. Yeah, I'm just like this pool of information, right? No, but with masternodes, I mean, there definitely are. they're pool operators, kind of, where basically you take, say, 10 coins, and then George has 300 coins, and then this guy has 300 coins, and then there's one person that will basically take all these coins and then set up the masternode, and then take the incentive and distribute it among everybody else. Now the problem is when you split up the pie too much, you're not receiving enough for it to be realistic and profitable, right? You basically come down to everybody receiving a very fractional portion, which is probably less than a transaction fee, or pretty close. But so they usually limit it to about 3 or 4 or 5 people. The other thing is when you send all your funds to this one individual that is going to set up that masternode and distribute that incentive, they have to be trustworthy and very honestly, they have to be within reach, if you ask me, right? Because there are many people out there that want to be involved in that, and then there are many people that want to exploit that, right? And then the second part of your question was selling your vote, basically. Yeah, and
my vote what?
yeah, and I mean, like in reality, you absolutely can sell your vote, right? But how do you, like? It would basically come down to doing it over social media or something like that, because how do I contact Joe Blow in Argentina with nothing but a wallet address, right? You would have to, right? And then you'd have to give out some of your personal details, right, in order for them to contact you and go through that whole situation. And then at that point, the next question is, does the word get out? And then is your collateral basically taken and redistributed, right? So that's the other thing with masternodes. A lot of platforms, they actually, when you put your collateral up, if it is identified that you are scamming at any given time, or say selling your vote is not part of the policy or anything like that, the blockchain actually, in some cases on their platforms, they will take that collateral and redistribute it amongst other individuals, right? And that happens, that can happen based on a voting portion, right? So that is a reality that basically hackers don't want to be involved in, or people that have an incentive in the game, right? They don't want to mess around. No, I don't want to lose my collateral. Let's not play games. Let's not mess around, right? Like, how many more should I take here? I'll answer all day.
Take one more because we gotta.
Yeah, okay, sounds good. Yeah, so the last one in the back there?
In the beginning, masternodes, they're really hard to set up. And now you got projects like Gincoin that are making masternodes extremely easy. How do you feel about those projects moving forward?
Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay. All right, this is awesome. So Gincoin. So Gincoin and a few other platforms like Nano, they actually offer automated masternode setups, right? And now, I've thought about this so many times, because you can set up these platforms, right? You can automatically set up these masternodes, and that's great and that's fine and well. Now, if they have a good reputation, a solid reputation for hosting these funds and setting up this automated service for you, and they have a good reliability, well then, hey, what's to stop you, right? Especially if it's a small fee. I mean, you know, you're kind of laughing. But now here's the thing, right? When there is a wallet update for a project, and it is a mandatory wallet update, that platform has to update all of their wallets for every single, for whatever project is having a mandatory update, right? And then they have to reset up that masternode, right? Now that is where issues arise, because there's going to be downtime for your masternode. You don't know when it's going to come up. And that's the thing. If you are a platform that hosts, say, 100 kinds of different masternodes for different coins, right? And 4 or 5 of those update, you better have the team to back it up and update those wallets so that there is uptime on those masternodes and those users are receiving that incentive, right? So that is a big deal. And there are some coins on those platforms which have went down for lengthy periods of time, whether that be due to communication errors with the project holders, or issues with the wallet update and some discrepancies in data, etc., etc. basically, with my investments, I like to have control in my hands, not other people's hands.
Let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you so much. That was awesome. I learned a lot there. That regular guy on YouTube, check him out, and at that_regular on Twitter, and at TRG on Steam.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.